Hello and welcome to part 1 of 3 of The Competition Killer. This is Sean McCloskey, and this is a 3-part informational tool that's designed to really completely change the quality of your real estate business. It was originally designed for investors doing short sales. However, this module in particular is usable in any facet of real estate. Today is part 1, which is building instant rapport. So let's talk about this a little bit. Why is rapport so important? Well, studies show that within the first 10 seconds of meeting someone, I don't care whether you're on the phone or in person, that's going to determine whether or not they're going to do business with you. The art of building rapport is fundamental. I don't care what kind of niche you're in or really any kind of business you're in. This is fundamentally important to your business. Also, keep in mind, this is a condensed version. I want you to try to digest as much of this as possible. I normally teach this in hours, not minutes. But think about this for a second. Have you ever met someone and instantly, like maybe within the first 10 seconds or so, felt connected? Have you ever felt this way? I know I have. What about the opposite? Have you ever met someone that you instantly felt completely disengaged from? Like you meet them and you think, man, I don't have a single thing to say to this person. I know I've felt that way too. Why is it that way? Why can you meet one person and feel so close to them so instantly, or meet another person and feel so disconnect with them so instantly as well? The answer is simple. People like people who are most like themselves. I know that sounds so simple, but it is. People like people who are most like themselves. The truth is, we're all similar in some ways. We're all connected in some way. We all have more in common than we give ourselves credit for. Matter of fact, we all have the same or really similar emotional, physical, and psychological needs. Believe it or not, you and I have the same emotional, physical, and psychological needs as our parents, our potential customers, our friends, even our enemies. You and I have the same emotional, physical, and psychological needs as Adolf Hitler. That might strike a nerve with some of you, but it's true. Now, this is where we're different. The way you and I express and fulfill our needs are going to vary from person to person. The way I express my needs is completely different than how Hitler probably expressed his needs. So how do you connect with someone that might be so different? The answer is simple. It's what I call mirroring and modeling. Mirroring and modeling is a way of being strategically similar to the person with whom you want to gain a relationship. What the heck does that mean? Well, in a nutshell, become more like the other person, build more rapport. It's very simple. Isn't this true? Think about it. When you felt really connected with someone, was it because they were more like you or was it because they were less like you? More often than not, it's because they were more like you. That's why you felt so connected with them. What about the person that you felt disconnected from? Were they more or less like you? Usually they're much less like you. That's why you feel so disconnected and so disengaged. So let me clarify something with you. Mirroring and modeling does not necessarily mean being a two-faced liar or turning into someone that you're not. That's not what I'm suggesting here. I don't want you to compromise your own personality, but when you mirror and model other people, you start to relate with how they feel. When you relate to how they feel, you start to become more like them. Then not only do you understand them, but they feel more connected with you. Does that make sense? And usually a conversation consists of 2 roles, and these roles can change hands at any time depending on the direction that you'd like the conversation to go. There's usually 2 roles. These roles are, number 1, the role of the listener. In this role, the person asks questions and then shuts up and listens. Very simple. Then there's role number 2, which is the position of the leader. The leader of the conversation is more like the talker, if you will. And what's everyone's favorite subject to talk about? It's themselves. Everyone loves to talk about themselves. In order to build rapport, we're going to start the conversation off by being the listener. Because the more we shut up and listen, the more rapport we'll build instantly. So how do we listen? Well, in order to listen, you must learn how to ask open-ended questions. These are questions that require more than just a yes or no answer and actually require some thought, right? So here is an example of not an open-ended question. What is your name? Right? That's a very simple one-answer response. Or how far are you behind on payments? Here's an example of an open-ended question. Tell me if this requires a different response. Sir, tell me, how has being in this situation affected you and your family? Does that require a different response? You better believe it. Or how's this one? How would you feel if at the end of every month you had money left over to do whatever you wanted? What would you do with that money? Doesn't that require a little bit more thought? That is an open-ended question. So what if they're not the talking type? Well, you continue to ask open-ended questions and get them to think. The more they respond to your open-ended questions, the more rapport you're going to build with them, because you're getting them to talk about themselves. Everyone's favorite subject, remember? But just asking questions is not enough. You have to be aware of their senses and what's going on around you as well. So some of these things are like auditory senses, the speed of their speech or the intonation of their speech. Are they talking very, very fast? Are they talking up and down all over the board? What are they doing, right? Or if you spoke all over the board and they were talking like this, would you build rapport with them very quickly? No, you would drive them crazy. They'd be wondering why you're talking so slow. So auditory senses are very important as well. What about kinesthetic senses? What are they physically feeling during the conversation? Are their legs crossed? Are they sitting up in their chair? Are they slouched down? These are all things that are very important. What if someone was slouched down in their chair, for example, and you were sitting on the edge of your chair right up in their face? Would you build more or less rapport with them? My imagination says that you would build less rapport. They would feel like you're in their face. Here they are slouched down and relaxed, and you're all in their face. What about visual senses? When you're speaking with them, are they looking directly into your eyes? Are they looking down at the ground? Or are they looking around at the room? These are all going to have effect on your conversation and how quickly you can build rapport. So if they're looking directly in your eye and they're bound and determined, they're looking directly at you and you're looking around the room, do you think you're going to build more or less rapport with them? My imagination says you're going to build much less. Same thing with breathing patterns. When you're talking to them, are they breathing fast or slow? So if I talk with someone who's breathing slow, and I'm breathing very fast and I'm talking with them in a very fast way, I'm probably not going to have the same amount of rapport built with them. Does this make sense to you? Okay, so let's sum it up. In order to build rapport very quickly, just do a couple things. We'll talk about 5 things. Remember why you felt connected to someone recently. Why did you feel that way? Also, remember why you felt completely opposite or disconnected from someone recently. I want you to think of a time like that and remember specifically why. Number 3, to feel connected, take on the role of the listener. Then you can be the leader later on. Number 4, remember to be a listener, you have to ask open-ended questions and then what? Shut up. Let them answer the questions, okay? And then number 5, remember to mirror and model. The more like them you are, the closer they become with you. Assignments for the next couple of days, I'm going to give you 3 things to do. Number 1, try this with at least one person that you've never met before. See if this works. Don't just take my word for it. Check it out. Number 2, visit the blog page on your screen. It should be flashing on your screen right now, and ask questions. Okay, if some of this stuff doesn't make sense to you, that's fine. Ask questions and then provide feedback for what you've learned so far. And number 3, be on the lookout for parts 2 and 3 coming soon. These next 2 and 3 parts are much more specific to the short sale industry in general, and I think you're going to learn a lot from it. Stay tuned. This is Sean McCloskey from Short Sale Wealth. I hope you enjoyed the info. We'll be in touch soon.